Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a special guest today, but before I introduce her, I'm Emmanuel Saint-Germain from Choice Mortgage Group, your host of Stop Whining About Real Estate, and I've got my cohort, Sarah Biernbaum, here. But today we've got a special guest. Jameson Olsen is the National Director of Bad Beep because she is just an absolute rock star, and she's never been introduced like that. So this is going to be a first for her.
Facts.
And yeah, she thought I was going to be a little stiff on this show. You didn't realize all my personality comes out now, did you?
I kind of like when your personality comes out. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, we do too. So Jameson, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, let's get started real quick. Just quick bio on what you do, just the basics for the audience.
I'm a national director of marketing and business development for All My Sons Moving. I focus on grassroots community involvement, anything and everything that would include All My Sons being a pillar in the communities that we serve and making sure that people know that.
Okay, very cool. So what is our origin? Because you and I met several years ago.
Sure did.
Yeah, several years ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And we met through the association, which is now called Our World. Mm-hmm. Talk about your first impression.
Of you?
Sure.
Oh, wow.
I can be vulnerable.
Bold.
You know, I think my actual very first impression of you, I mean, obviously I was young then. Like real young. I've been with All My Sons for 11 years, so I was in my early 30s, and I was still a little rough around the edges. Like I'm a little bit more smooth now, and I do remember thinking that you kind of looked like Where's Waldo, and then I think our second one, our meeting was we were at one of their conventions where it was like we have our booths and stuff, and you had to dress up, and I was in a tutu. It was the 80s thing, and I was in a tutu, and you were in like a fighter jet pilot suit, and I was
Probably
like
Maverick.
Top Gun.
yes, and I was like, all right, I can vibe with him, and I think we just kind of hit it off from there.
So it's really funny. So I remember Jameson. So when we got into the association, she was just really good about giving us, like grabbing Jared and I by the hand and saying, all right, guys, like you're obviously, you know what you're doing, but that's not how you're going to succeed within the association. And here's what you got to do, and kind of giving us some of those tips. Taking that knowledge and now going 10 years later or whatever it is that we've known each other, what would, if someone were entering the association today, based on all the information that you know, would your advice be different to that individual versus what, the advice you gave us?
Oh, I think 100% different. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say one thing really quickly. When she got into the association looked a lot different
It was
for
so
affiliates.
different. Uh-huh.
So we're an affiliate, Jameson's an affiliate, and obviously the goal is to build relationships with agents. When Jameson entered the association, affiliates had a very limited amount of involvement they could do.
I remember being like, why not? They kept saying, well, you
Do
can't
I get
do that.
credit
You're
for this?
No, actually, she does.
No, I kept being like, well, why not? I pissed a lot of people
She
off.
did.
I pissed a lot of
You
people
gotta
off.
ruffle some feathers
She
to get to
ruffled
the
a lot
top.
of feathers
I
because
plucked
she
some
said,
of those
listen, if
MFers.
we're going to be a part of this and spend time and effort and money and doing all the things that we're doing, I want to have access to committees. I want to be able to sit on, certain things and kind of pave the way. So the association, as we know it, as far as the affiliate involvement, looks different. And it's talked about, I think, everywhere that she did a lot of the work for us. So
I remember I was like, well, why can't I be a chair of a committee? And I remember being told verbatim the exact words, because I wanted to chair the young professional committee. And verbatim, the person told me, over my dead body will an affiliate chair a committee. And the following year, they opened up the YPNs in Port St. Lucie, and I chaired that committee.
Very cool.
And same thing with Leadership Academy. I was like, well, why can't affiliates be in Leadership Academy?
yeah. And
There
Leadership Academy
literally,
is
every
where
time
got
I
my
said, well,
big
why
in.
not? There were literally no reasons why.
Right. Nobody had ever asked.
Yes. So obviously, when we joined the association, we were using our roles within the association at a very different capacity than we do today. And in fact, little known trivia, we wanted to hire Jameson at one point because she's a kick butt business development. She very different than Sarah. You guys take a very different approach. Sarah kicks butt in her own right as well. So this is not to have you guys compete at all.
Sarah's lucky I speak to her today.
But I think one of the reasons you and I get along so well is that we're both very direct.
I wrote her offer letter for us.
Oh, did you?
Was that why it was wrong like the first 2 times?
Oh, stop.
When Sarah and I first met, we'll get back to your question in a minute, but when Sarah and I first met,
There's an exaggeration to the story.
this is not an exaggeration because literally you can ask Jessica Lowe what happened. And I had just gotten off an airplane.
You can tell your part, I'll tell mine.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And then it's probably more towards mine. Okay. So I had just gotten off an airplane. It was Jessica's birthday happy hour. It was in October. I don't know how long you had been working for Choice.
Over a year.
But we hadn't met yet. She and I had not met. And I'm not sure why she was so excited to meet me.
During COVID too, by the way.
No, 2021.
2021. It was in October.
That's COVID
October
years.
2021.
Well, yeah, but like we weren't wearing masks or anything anymore.
We weren't in masks, but we were still
in
doing
the biz
stuff.
dev role at this point. So we had offered her the position. I wrote her
in
offer
January
letter,
of 2021.
sent her the email, everything back and forth, and then this was October. But I'd heard about her because I'd done a bunch of association stuff leading up until this.
So we were at her happy hour, just stepped off the airplane, and usually when I step off an airplane, I'm like already like I'm on fire about something. The car rental company, the bathrooms, I don't know what, right?
Nobody warned me about that.
She's like this close to my face when she introduces herself to me. And she's just like...
She's a close talker, right?
Right? And she's like this, and I'm personal space, right? There's not a whole lot of people I let like to get in with like 2 feet of myself, and she's right here, and she's just like, "I'm Sarah. I'm with Choice. I'm so excited to meet you. I've been like," and it's like this, right? For a good 30 seconds, way too long for me. And I look over at Jessica, and Jessica's like. And I like politely, in my polite fashion, like excused myself from the conversation, and I'm like, "Who the F is that?" Like, and why was she this close to me? And Jessica's like, no, give her another chance.
So part of that also, and I think that part of the excitement levels is that we really built you up, right?
Fact.
I think that, no, we did. So Jared and I, like, I really remember at the time, so Sarah was one of the very first people in the business development role in the mortgage industry. It was not commonplace. So like, although you had been doing business development in the moving industry, maybe that was commonplace for that arena, but for us, it wasn't. And so one of the things we said is, go be like Jameson. And although you guys get along very well, your personalities are very different.
Yes.
And so I think that for Sarah trying to please us, she's like, okay, how do I become this person? What do I need to do? Let me go figure it out. And then realize very quickly, wow, I'm nothing like Jameson. Like, that's not going to be my key to success.
Well, I think also for me meeting her that night, because I'd heard so much about her, because I wrote this offer letter for her and we went back and forth like on email, and then I knew she was Jessica's friend. I knew she was very big into the association. When I saw her, I was like, I'm not going to not say hi and make it weird. I didn't realize that you had no idea who I was. And so I had this assumption that like you knew who I was because I was connected to Choice. I was at Jessica's, so obviously I'm friendly enough with her to be at her birthday party. So it puts me on a personal level. And I was like, I can't just not introduce myself and pass this entire event while we're all here and be like, just kind of bypass it. So I was like, let me just nip it and let me just go for it. I also was told that if you don't like somebody, they know right away. So I was like, well, I mean, let's just get this over with. She doesn't like me. She's not going to like me. But like, at least let's get it over with. And at least I can say I tried. So I was like, I kind of psyched myself up when I got there and I was like, and you were like, get her away from me. And I was like, all right. So I left and I was like, she hates me. And Jessica's like, just maybe next time less aggressive. And I was like, I wasn't trying to be aggressive. I was nervous and wanted to get it over with.
You know when you have a puppy that pees when you come home because it's so excited its owner has came? Like...
Wow, did I just have a little mental view there, Sarah?
No, but back to your question.
Puppy ever.
Right? Back to your question. The advice would be very different, right? Because very good point that the association looked different, right? Mm-hmm. It is very easy as an affiliate to spread yourself so thin because we do span over 3 counties now, all the way from Port St. Lucie down to the very bottom of Broward County. And social media wasn't as big back then either, as it is today. So my advice would definitely be 100% different in the fact of using your time wisely, utilizing ways to be seen without always have to telling your story over and over and over again. So there would be similarities, but there would definitely be some strong differences as well. Mm-hmm.
So when we look at the association in general, to kind of to give a little bit of background, the amount of agents that are actually involved in the association versus the amount of agents that belong to the county or to the association, it's significantly lower, right? So it's not like, hey, we have 35,000 agents, and is that what we have in Palm Beach County?
It's 42,000 agents or 72,000 agents that are attached to all 3 counties.
Okay, so out of 72,000, it's not like you guys are going to events and you have access to all 72,000 people. It's a much smaller number. So do you have a system? Are you methodical about, so one of the little things that we have Sarah doing is, I like the concept of like the FBI's most wanted. Like ever seen like when they show a show, they say, here's the top boss, here's the underlings, here's who you, all right, in order to get to this person, we're going to go get this person, right? And so there's some actual strategy to how you're going to meet and go after someone to try and get in front of them. Have you ever used any kind of strategies like that? Or has it just been kind of arbitrary and just running?
When I first started joining the association, I kind of just didn't know where to go, right? I heavily relied on certain people to make the introductions for me, the ins and outs. Today, I start at the top, and I do exactly what you guys do as well. Sarah and I have had these conversations. She sees me with an agent. She's like, that agent is on my most wanted list. Like, what do I need to do? So I like to start at the top, but different strokes for different folks. So I have realtors that I will always support, but they really have never given me any business, but they've introduced me to that person. That was my gateway into there, right? When they put me on social media with them, I get business from that. People that now validates my existence in the moving industry and their faith in me. So it is not always a numbers game as far as referrals coming in. It is, who are you surrounding yourself with, and who do they know? There's a real estate agent down in Fort Lauderdale who maybe I get 2 a quarter from him, maybe when he does more business, but I at least have 5 to 7 agents a month calling me saying, this person gave me your contact for my move. My customer is moving. I'm a realtor with Ballestieri. I'm a realtor with Illustrated Properties. I'm a realtor with KW. And that's his value to me. He's not great at referrals because he's an OG in the business and that just isn't his game, but he's great at referring me to other agents who end up being really great referral partners.
Do you educate these agents on how to refer?
Oh, 110%.
Because I feel like that's a lost art that a lot of people don't quite, people make the assumption, she likes me, he likes me. If they had a buyer, they would send it our way. Or if they had, someone who needed a move, they would send it our way.
Well, first, you have to ask for the business, right? I'm a fan of asking for the business. And I tell them how the best way to give a referral, right? It's not always just call on my sons. So I give them the best way to give a referral, which is going to be my cell phone. So I do teach them how to give a referral, and once they do it once, it's like clockwork with them.
Do you have a timing piece as far as like, hey, here's your trigger to, because all right, let's say somebody gets under contract. At what point, it's different. A seller needing a move and a buyer needing a move are two different, they're thinking differently about their timing.
I tell them all the time, as soon as you become their real estate agent, buyers or buyer's agent or listing agent, as soon as you become their real estate agent, introduce the moving conversation.
Yeah, I like it. What does Ben call it? It's basically like there was a almost like the captain of a boat or something like that, the quarterback, I guess, in football, if we want to use that analogy. I think that's what he uses. Because in fact, I think he called us his O-line, which I found hysterical. But the bottom line is like, it is. I think that the true real estate professionals that know what they're doing, they know that in order to achieve success, which is what we ultimately all want, and success being defined, in my opinion, as a great client experience, therefore hopefully getting future referrals, right, and repeat business in the future. And using that methodology, basically you go to a client the second that, to your point, if I'm a listing agent, I want to be in control of everything. I want you, Sarah, the seller, to sit back, relax. This is what you pay me for. I'm going to connect you with this. I'm going to help you with this. I know all these people. Why? Because I do transactions. I don't do 2 a year. I do actual transactions. Therefore, I have connections. I know how to help you. What do you need? Let's get an inspection. Do we need a handyman to fix anything before the buyer comes and asks us for 10 grand when we could have fixed it for $2,000? Things like that, right? So for me, I see that as the opportunity to say, hey, when are you introducing, as far as an education piece for you, like when do you introduce the idea of a mover, and do you not? And if you don't, why?
Right. A lot of real estate agents never thought about, we're a necessary evil, right? We're not part of the closing process. So they never thought about referring that until they actually meet me and they, get to know and like me. And then they're like, like a light bulb goes off. Yeah. I have a realtor at Location Real Estate down in Fort Lauderdale who automated, has an automated system going on. And he was like, Jameson, on day 9, they get an introduction email to you. And I said, no, it has to be on day 8.
Threw his whole world upside down.
I totally did. But now I'm on day 8, right?
I'm going to work up to that day 4.
Right?
This sounds like a good agent for me, by the way.
Right? So it's all about, policies and procedures and where I fit into their game plan and how they like to play ball. So it's really, I can fit into a lot of different ways. So.
Very cool. Tell us a story of.
Oh boy.
No, because this is true.
tell us a story.
I'm going to tee this up. I'm going to tee it up for you. Tell us a story, because I think this is what everybody wants. Tell us a story where something was going wrong, how you made it right, and how at the end the client was happy. Or as happy as could be, or at least the referring partner was happy.
Yeah, so...
Because it happens.
It does happen. Well, I think one of my favorite stories is when I first got a corporate card. And all my sons was like, here's a corporate card.
I always say, Jameson told me to spend it.
I did.
I literally was going through the Amex bill this morning. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
I took her to lunch. And I was like, how much do you spend a month on your card? And she was like, well, really? And I was like, you need to be swiping that like it's your job, and that's what he pays you to do.
Bad advice.
She's like, just
Sarah, earmuffs.
She's like, swipe, apologize for it later, and then do it all over again.
That's exactly how I
Your company's slightly larger than we are at this time, so
debatable. I think you guys are getting up there. So it was right when I first got a corporate card, probably like 10 years ago, and we were moving a district court judge, and it was a torrential downpour. And I was at the Origin, and she insisted on moving everything. And I said, okay, we can still do this. And they were like, Jameson, we need to like push this move date or cancel. I was like, we're not canceling. She's a district court judge. And so
I might need her in my corner.
Yeah, right. Facts. So you shouldn't be moving in the rain like that, right? And so, but she insisted, and so they were moving one of her pieces that was very, very expensive. It was this beautiful armoire, and she had this like spiral staircase in her foyer. So they're taking it down the spiral staircase. We're now halfway through the load, and it was a complete accident. Like I watched it in slow motion, and to this day, it's still in slow motion in my head. And the mover just slipped. And it slipped out of his hands, and it tumbled down every stair.
Oh, my God.
Like tumbled like this. Like not just slid. Head over end around this staircase like this, right? And she and I are both standing at the bottom of the steps, and she just is ghastly white, and I have a look of horror. My movers everyone's frozen at this point, like not moving. And so I look at her and I said, so, do you want to go shopping? And she's like, yeah, I do. I said, all right, let's go. I was like, your husband is here, right? She's like, yeah. I was like, let's go. So we did. We went and bought her a new lawnmower. They didn't put a limit on my card until like the following year. And then obviously, she gave a great review, and we obviously sent a repairman in to fix the stairs and everything like that, because it did cause some damage. But I watched it. It was a complete accident, but
happens.
Yeah.
Good thing you were there.
Facts. But she actually in the car ride was like, you're right, we probably shouldn't be moving today. And I was like, oh,
well, now you tell me.
So, but how does that work? Is that covered by insurance and stuff like that?
9 times out of 10 it is. When I say 9 times out of 10, because on a move, maybe if I wasn't there and something like that happened, now I've been doing this for 11 years. The process for claims on moves from I say my referrals, from a real estate referral is very seamless. They go to one person in the company. They, at the end of the day, we want to leave them in a good taste in their mouth about All My Sons, and they want to use this again. So today that wouldn't happen, but back then I had no like policies or procedures, because I still was making it up as I would go along. Yeah. Right. So they would frown upon that highly today. Right. If I was like, want to go shopping. But yeah, so I've been with the company for 11 years. There's been maybe on one hand I can count where I've looked at the person and been like, hey, want to go to Target? Like,
were you the first person in this role for All My Sons, or were there?
Yes, no, I was the very first.
So you were developing it as you came in, which is kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah, nobody.
Love it. Keep going with this, because you both are pioneers.
And I'll be honest, she's had some great ideas. I've tweaked some of her ideas. Slightly sometimes, where I'm like, maybe you could do this a little better. But I think in the mortgage world, she's the perfect fit for this. So,
do you run into any other business developments in the mortgage world?
Yeah. In all my markets, there's only a handful of affiliates in title and mortgage that I would say are exceptional people for that position, like myself, that I would put on my level. And Sarah's one of them.
Oh,
you do like me.
I do now.
This is a moment.
You did not have me at hello. I'm going to let you know that now. You didn't have me
3 years later,
hello.
but I'll never have you at goodbye either.
So let's talk about the business development role a little bit more, and because it is a role that we could talk about for any industry.
Yep.
It obviously works very well. What are some of the similarities that you guys find from both of your industries, and where are some of the differences?
I think for both of our industries, it's going in with your palm down and asking them how we can help them grow their business. Yep. What do you need, right?
So I've never heard of this expression, by the way. Going in with your palm down means what?
Instead of being like,
receiving,
instead of
say, what can I do for you, instead of give me.
Gotcha.
And instead
palm
of saying,
up, I thought was like kiss my little pinky.
No, well, people on your level maybe, but not normal people. Okay.
Not us.
But no, going in with your palms down, saying, how can I help you grow your business? What do you need from me?
Yep.
Got it.
Most people go up with their palms up, saying, how can I earn your business? What and that's not what they want to hear, because everybody says that to them.
Sure.
That's what you would say to them as an LO.
No.
No. I'm just saying, in an LO role, you're saying, how can I get your buyers in our world, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, for me, it's always been about adding value.
Right. So for us, and this was one thing that I took from you, is she was like, you don't want to ask people how will you start doing business with me? How can I get your business? It's, what can I do to help you? What do you need? How can I help you grow? How can I help you be more successful?
And I think as affiliates, we have to ask each other that as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a big part of it. I think when realtors are more apt to use affiliates when they see affiliates working well together as well. So
I also think that, so for me, when I came in, affiliates were my friendliest first stop, because we weren't trying to get business from each other.
Commonality.
Correct. And we were all in there for the same reason. So when I realized that if I could friend and like and get to know other affiliates, then it was, you know, who do you have that you work with, that you love working with, that might be open to having a conversation with me? Will you do an intro for me? Will you connect me with this person? You know, I see that you work with this agent quite often. Do they have a lender that they love? Would they be open to a conversation with me? And I think that was a huge kind of entry to getting other agents to even have initial conversations with me, because there's a ton of lenders.
There are a ton of lenders. And I think for lenders and title, it's so hard to get in, but as soon as you're in, you know, I always tell people, don't try and be their number one to start. Right. Go in there being like, I'll be your number two. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you need from your number two? Mm-hmm.
Side piece, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? Side chick.
I'll be your side chick.
Side boo. I just want to be your side boo. I just want to taste, right? Like,
yeah.
So, because eventually that other mortgage person, that other title person, that other mover is going to mess up. Mm-hmm. Always.
Yep.
And the realtor is not going to be very forgiving when that happens.
Nope.
And you're going to slide right in.
Right, you're ready to add your value, and yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So, all right, so we've got, what are some tips for, let's do a little education piece for a second. What are some tips that we would tell a prospective seller regarding their move? Prospective seller. So I'm about to list my house. So we are going to move. I mean, I can tell you, like, as a consumer, I can think right now, if I were to, it is such an overwhelming, daunting concept to work the hours that I work and have to go home and pack. Mm-hmm. So do you offer a packing service?
We do. We offer several different services. A lot of the listing agents that I work with, it ends up being 2 moves. We'll come in, we'll pack things up, and we'll move it into the garage.
Okay.
To get it ready for staging. And then we come in and we actually do a whole move, whether it's before the sale or after the sale or whatever the case is, whenever the time frame works well. So I would say 75% of the time it's a 2-part move, because you may think your house looks great with all that, but not to sell it. So,
right.
That's how she sounds when she talks about my social media.
But for an actual client, though, so like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say if I'm selling my house and I'm moving out, you're going to pack all my stuff. Mm-hmm. So how do we price stuff? So we price it based on, how does it work?
I would set up an estimator appointment. You're going to walk my estimator around your home, showing him what stays, what goes, any special needs that you might have. And then we're going to be able from there tell you how many movers, how much material, how long it's going to take, what to expect on moving day. Is it going to be 2 days? If it's a pack of an entire house and maybe you have a 5-6 bedroom home, we're going to pack and prep on the first day and we're going to load and move on the second day. And it's you know, and a lot of people can't move into their home right away as well. Right. So what do you expect? Okay, well, we're going to leave one bed for you guys and we're going to come get it the next day. We're going to hold the stuff on the truck overnight. So there's a lot of different options. Why are you moving? Do you need a quote? Because I could totally set one up for you.
I don't.
And I'll give you a 5%
appreciate that, but
discount.
you are my first call. I do recall. So I'll tell you a little story that of some clients that were friends of mine, and if I recall the story properly, something happened where we weren't able to fund their loan on a Friday afternoon, and they had their stuff in a moving truck. And I think we had the moving truck come to my house and literally parked in my driveway and until we could fund the loan on a Monday. And this is before I was an owner of a company, and now today I would never allow that, I wouldn't.
If that were to happen, that's not uncommon, right? Or is it common? That for
it's
me,
not common anymore.
Okay, so that's not an uncommon thing for something to happen where they don't close when it's expected to close. We're very flexible. We would just hold the things on your items on the truck overnight. Usually it's about $200 to $250 per truck.
It's not a scheduling nightmare though. Like if we say we're going to be there Friday morning and then needs
I mean, we have to do what we have to do. What am I going to say? Like, oh, too bad, so sad, and put it in your driveway? No, I'm going to charge you for an overnight hold until you can fund it.
We're emptying the truck on the lawn,
right? Like. So, but I've ran into things where realtors have called me because stuff has happened and movers have done that, where they've literally have offloaded somewhere because they were like, we need the truck. And that's what's going to happen when you go to a mom and pop that only has 1 or 2 trucks, because it is a scheduling nightmare for them. For someone that has an entire fleet behind that name, like all my sons does, it's just kind of like a little bump in the road, like a speed bump, either pothole you didn't see, right? You're just going to make sure it doesn't blow out the tire.
No, I love it. You're able to problem solve easily.
Pivot.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the fleet. What a great word that is. So what's the scope and size of all my sons? Like, how many trucks do you guys have? How many people?
It depends on your location. You know,
Where are you located?
we have 97 locations nationwide.
Wow.
All under one umbrella. I work with all of them. So
Privately owned, public.
all under, yeah, we're privately owned. We
Okay.
have a board of directors. That's so we could stay all under one umbrella. We were family owned and operated before that. But for example, my Fort Lauderdale location, we have a fleet that has a mix of 16-foot, 26-foot, and 30-foot trucks. My Dallas fleet has the same mix, except we also have two 18-wheelers and a lowboy. So
What's a lowboy?
No, that's okay. Just the name just got me cracking up.
18-wheeler, I get.
It's
What's
an
a lowboy?
18-wheeler that has a wider mouth,
We're
so
blonde, so
it's
you gotta-
lower to the ground, so it's called a lowboy.
So
Okay.
what's the most common? Like
If you're moving a 4-bedroom house, what's the most common?
Probably
truck?
a 30-foot.
Okay.
A 30-foot, because especially if they're moving out of state, you can't use a 26-foot truck because it can only hold 9,000 pounds legally. So
Got
if
it.
you have 12,000
So I've done
pounds, you
that
need a
before. I
30.
moved to
You need a
Philly,
30
and then I
foot.
moved back, and we had to get.
moving is the worst.
Worst.
No offense.
Not when you move with me.
No, I get it, but the concept of
It's the worst. It's bad.
packing, unpacking, yeah. Like, do you do this? Because here's what I would like. I would like to go on vacation.
He wants to go on vacation, have somebody pack his entire place.
Yep.
Move it into the new place, unpack it, reorganize it, clean everything, and make sure it's good. So when he comes back,
Do you know I
everything
just
is
I
ready to
just
roll.
without dropping a step.
literally just did that in Denver. Literally just did that. We organized everything. So I brought in
what I would want.
an organization company that did. We prefer not to do like the put away. It's called a put away when you're moving back in. So we packed everything up. We moved it. We had the organization come in and supervise it for them. Like they hired them on for that. And then we delivered it. We put everything back. We
You
took
say
pictures.
the organization like an organizer?
Yep,
type person? Okay.
an organizing company
Okay.
came in. And when we put everything back the way it did, they came in and unpacked all the boxes.
Yes.
With the
I wonder
help,
how that would work,
they
'cause-
color coded the closet.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, yeah.
We're a couple Virgos. Like, you know, we got a certain way of doing things, and you've got the fork on the wrong side.
But so they did do that too. They're like, hey, they would FaceTime the customer while we were setting up the living room. Hey,
So while you're laying
this
by
is
the
here,
pool,
yeah.
Turks and Caicos, they're like, listen, do you want your sneakers on the right side of your closet or on the left side of the closet?
Pretty sure my laptop would be on me, and I'd be on the phone with the client. But yes,
Yes, you would.
So we have that's not something we do often,
Right.
but we do have people that
it's not
don't
requested as much.
Probably a hefty
because there's a
fee
lot
to
of
it.
people that you
What?
would be surprised how
probably
much control
costly.
you want. It's not cheap at all.
I mean, I get it.
However, I think Emmanuel can afford it.
but it's more. I don't know that I can, but it's more.
That's because he cut my company card.
See, it's all about keeping the biz dev spending down so that if and when we ever move, we're able to do this, right?
Yeah.
The I mean, what a dream, though. I don't think it gets any better than that.
That's luxury.
I can't believe
moving.
people don't. It's not more.
We've moved famous people before.
There's
where
a lot of money down here.
We've had to hang black curtains around the property for paparazzi, so they could not film us or take photos of us moving.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
Were they nice? Did you get to meet anybody famous?
Yeah. I mean, my movers have done
Apart
stuff
from us.
for. I know, right?
Stop whining about real estate is really big.
They've done
Millions
stuff
that watch
for
us.
at
Yes.
Mar-a-Lago
Okay.
for Trump. They've had to sign non-disclosures. They put their cell phones in plastic bags when they get there. They move furniture around. So we've done some stuff like that. We've done some things on Star Island for some famous people down there in Miami. We actually have to put we have to coordinate with the ferries to put our trucks on a ferry to
Yep.
go over.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So yeah, we've done obviously a lot of pro athletes and all
What's
realms of
your
sports.
team look like? So like as a biz dev, so like, all right, in the line, Sarah's team is essentially, could be me, could be Adam, one of our inside loan officers. But for the most part, there's someone that she's attached to like what we say is like, she's the relationship person and like we're the surgeons that come in and do what we actually do, right? So what is your transaction? We're more transactional. She's relationship.
Yep.
So similar role, but what does your team look like? Sure.
So we have similar roles, but my role goes a lot more in depth, right? So I know all aspects of moving. So on the surface level, you know, at a location, it's going to be my estimator that I trust to go in and do the right estimate. It's going to be my operator who I can go into the system and look to make sure he has the correct crew on it, that it's dispatched on time. I wanted to learn all aspects of the moving. So if I had someone coming from Boston down to Fort Lauderdale or West Palm, they couldn't be pulling one over on me, right? So I can go into the system. I can look at everything. I've gone into dispatch before and spoken to crews to make sure that they're doing everything. I've gone on site and been able to look to make sure that everything is going perfectly. So I like to think of myself more as
The quarterback.
chief in Grey's Anatomy, right? The chief of
was
the
her name?
hospital.
Wasn't it a woman?
Oh, that was Meredith. I'm talking about the chief.
I don't know. I get called McDreamy of mortgages all the time.
Is
though.
that what? Is that who calls you that?
No one. I just thought it's the only name I know of from
calls you
that
that?
show.
McSteamy? Has anyone called you McSteamy? I don't think so.
No.
No.
I mean, maybe because my glasses were steaming up. I don't or maybe there was some McDonald's in front of me, but I don't know. Outside of that, I can't think of anything like that.
But that's my team. But I am logistically involved if I have to be. I don't like to do that, but I will if I have to.
Very cool.
Like right now, we're moving the AT&T Stadium for the Dallas Cowboys is doing an entire suite refresh. So they're taking one whole side. We moved out all of the suites on 5 different levels, stored them, moving them back in August 5th, and they're fully renovated suites. January, we'll do the other side of the stadium. But logistically, I go in and I meet with operations, I meet with the staff, I meet with the Dallas Cowboys and make sure that everything is seamless.
Apart from like the association and stuff like that, do you have any partnerships with relocation companies?
Yes, I do. 9 times out of 10, those relocation companies are like internal. For example, I work with one out of Dallas. Monument Realty is the real estate brokerage, but they have a relocation branch division, yeah, where they work with the PGA, they work with Toyota, they work with all the Omni. So we've done moves from Hawaii, to the mainland for Omni executives that are getting transferred. So we do a lot of relos for smaller ones like that.
Any other sources of business that we didn't discuss that you think are valuable?
I mean, just a lot of the referrals that come to me are word of mouth. I work with a lot of pro athletes and their agents. So I've kind of became the preferred mover of a lot of different, the NFL agents. I get during free agency. That's super busy for me. I'll get calls at all times of the night. The 2022 NFL draft, the agent called me at like 3 a.m. and was like, I have the first round draft pick that needs moved in 2 days. So,
I got it.
I did too.
My fleet is ready to go.
Don't worry.
Call you when I wake up.
I was like, don't worry. Shoot me a text. But we work with a lot of property managers, a lot of mid-rises, high-rises. So those are always good referral sources for us as well. Very
cool. Any parting shots there?
No. Well, I wanted to just touch on one thing before we rock out of this. You do a lot in the community, I know, with kids and camps. Talk to us about that, because I know that that's super near and dear to your heart.
Yes. So I own a company called Hard Count Athletics, and we are one of maybe 2 or 3 companies in the entire United States that does a national competitive youth flag football tournament circuit that is from ages of 6U to 18U. And so that's one side of the company. And we'll have tournaments where we get 160 teams, like we just had in San Diego, or in Florida where we had Orlando, we had 78 teams. And then the other facet of that is that we do NFL player youth camps. where we either pay the player to come out and put on a camp, like we just did Jamar Chase out in Orange County, California. There was about 375 kids on the field. And then we're doing one for a Patriot player in the middle of Alabama, July 20th. And he's paying us to put that on for free to his community. And he'll have about 300 kids on the field.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah,
super
keeps
awesome.
me busy.
How'd you get involved in that?
Oh, I fell in love.
Not with the kids.
Not with the kids.
Glad we cleared that. Whoa, is this show about to take a dangerous turn? I don't think we have that kind of rating on here.
We don't have any rating. We can do whatever we want.
Well,
Everyone's like, you must really enjoy it. How did you get into it? I'm like, I fell in love. Like they expect this major story of like the kids, and yes, it's for the kids. However,
But you love it all now.
Yeah, I love it all now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Before it was just like, oh, I'm in love. I want to help you grow your business. So
I love that.
perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Jameson. Always a pleasure. A friend,
She's my friend too now.
yes. Well, we're all friends. We're all friends apart from getting to work together and being in the association together. But thank you so much for your time.
no, thank you for having me, and thank you for being great partners to all my sons.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.